support election. And when, after election, they make demands, ministerial appointment, this, people may not know that this is the case in Africa. These two nationally oriented, integrated political parties were nurtured by my commission on management, on organization, party record, party campaign. Center for Democratic Studies was established to train them. A new breed set of politicians were encouraged all over. And two men, young, a diplomat from the north, Baba Gibbon, headed the SDP, an architect, Tommy Ikimi, he's still there in APC, headed SDP. And the bit of it, really, when you come to it, in economic policy, you either have a little conservative trait to the right, or you have a bent a little bit to the left, socialist, or middle of the road on the left, or middle of the road on the right. So those who had a threat of conservatism belong to NRC, and you don't have these people only in one ethnic group. You have it, Igbos, those who are major capitalists who want to invest and less government involvement in economic activities, they move to NRC. And that was the growth of NRC from what? From east to west to north. Those who were so inclined joined NRC. Those who thought a little bit to the left joined SDP. And ladies and gentlemen, within the period I was in office, these two nationally, two grassroots parties that cut across ethnic, regional, state boundaries started growing. People joined them, started mobilizing, started internalizing value, started building institutions, started building manifestos. And when they have done this, we have, as a reform, two nationally oriented political parties. Then, having got two parties, what of electoral reform? Because people didn't have confidence in elections. We decided that we should have what we call open ballot. Open ballot. If you, Dr. Chen, if you have my paper, or if you distribute the details, I will not go into details. Open ballot is a simple voting system that is done in the open. You can do it successfully with local government election, especially when you are choosing councillors and not going to National Assembly or State Congress or Senate or President. What we wanted to do is to restore confidence in the electoral system, that when people make choices, these choices will stand. Open ballot, you're required to be registered as a voter. To be a citizen, your name must be in the voter register. We also required having what we call accreditation. During the election, all those who had registered to vote will appear when they registered as a polling unit, and people will queue behind them. I said especially for local government election, where it is easy, where people know themselves. We used it in December 8th local government election in Nigeria. It worked smoothly. And people will encourage people that after accreditation, people who were, because it's not all the people who registered that will turn up for voting. Some may not. You will announce that out in this station, 500 people registered, but only 300 appear for accreditation. So the number of voters will not exceed 300. It could be less, because after accreditation, you can leave. So with this, the local government election was held successfully. And people said, people were encouraged to wait and hear the result. And when people heard the result all over Nigeria, then there were 593 local governments scattered all over Nigeria, west, east, south, north. People were happy. But educated people said, how do we stand? How do we stand behind any person? How do you protect the integrity of the vote? How do you record, especially when you go to court? If you are not satisfied with the outcome of the election, you are entitled to go to court. We decided to look at it again. How do we modify it in order to avoid a situation where people will bastardize the secret balloting system? We decided to, in May 1992, instituted what we called modified open ballot system, which combined the openness and voting in secret. So what does it entail? You still have the registration, you still have accreditation, you still have your ballot paper, but after accreditation, people will queue up. You're issued with voting card or ballot paper. You will go and vote in secret. Vote for any candidate you like. And to make sure that you are not bastardizing the vote, you come out in the open and vote. And you are encouraged to wait. And at the end of it, the result is announced, collation from world, local government, state, national level. That is, we instituted the reform, first organized the commission, secondly, organized the party structure, thirdly, organized the voting system, fourthly, we instituted, made sure there were accurate voters registered, because that's where elections are manipulated in Africa. People engage in multiple registration by proxy, and so on. We made sure that all these maladies were eliminated. And finally, the sanctity of the electoral voting card is set. We secured it. We made sure that it was not tampered with. It was done under my supervision as chairman of the commission, so that no person had access. We had inbuilt security measures that you cannot use the ballot paper from one local government to another local government. In the past, people printed it abroad, and I thought they are trying to print abroad again. When you print it abroad, many problems arise. One, how do you check spelling errors? Two, package of it. Three, security of it. Four, transportation of it. Five, custody of it before the election day, and so on. So you can find, from a humble experience in Nigeria, two major factors that are necessary, that can work all over in Africa, modified in a way that can suit the local differences, the local circumstances of different African countries. This two-party structure, which SDP and NRC, but unfortunately, when we are back to it, the election which I conducted June 12th, which a copy of the book, you can read details of it. It was observed by observers from here, from Europe, European community, all over the world, and they acclaimed it. It was free, it was fair, it was not tampered with. And Nigeria had put it in its own fundamental law, modified open ballot. In fact, they call it in Nigeria option A4. Wherever I go, they sometimes call me Mr. Option A4. At least one thing that is there, one thing they have not changed in Nigeria is that mode of voting. But what really they've changed, because the military interfered and annulled the election. If that election was not annulled, two important contributions that would have been Nigerian contribution to variation of democracy in Africa would have been, one, the integrated, nationally oriented political parties. What is happening now is that with the annulment of the election, which is a different, this is not the topic. Election was successful, was acclaimed, a winner was known, Abiola, and so on. But the military man who wanted to have his turn helped to annul it and then disbanded the commission. Not only that, destroyed the two political parties. Now, recently, Nigeria, since the return in 1999 of the current republic, had tried to establish two political parties. It has been difficult. Any Nigerian who is here will know that the current PDP and APC, there is not much of a difference, because people change parties in Nigeria as they change clothes. There is no question of which is a bit to the right or a bit to the left. You wouldn't say the APC is a bit to the left. Many people have moved from PDP to APC, and many have moved from APC to PDP. Perhaps what they are looking for may be where something could happen, maybe appointment and so on. But there could be no substitute. I'm talking as a Nigerian, as an African, to having two-party structure that has grassroots orientation, that is national in structure, in membership, in offices, starting from the ward or local government through state, just as you have here. You have Democratic Party, you have Republican Party, and each can be alternative to the other. It's not quite so in many African countries. And one of our major recommendations is that there should be a two-party structure with national orientation, national in policy, national in value, national in membership, and offices spread. But the good news for the voting system is that the modified open ballot has been accepted. It is part of, no matter the electoral body they appoint, they use it, they use accreditation, they use people go and vote in secret, come out and dump it in open place. At least this can serve as a model to a number of African states. And when this is happening, my mind goes to countries like Southern Sudan that recently gained independence. This is where what we are talking is really serious. What the problem is, they were complaining of domination by their northern colleagues in northern Sudan, Sudan. Now, when they had opportunity to have their own system, have established electoral, make sure you have appropriate electoral reform based on party that can be alternative to one another, where they have opportunity to establish institutions, legislative institutions, non-governmental institutions, courts that can be a checkmate to one another. What are they doing? Not even 3 years after independence, they have all disintegrated into primordial groups, to small ethnic groups, fighting against one another. And if we continue to think of my group or the group, Muslim, Christian, it will not work. You will find out in Nigeria, with the two-party structure, a Southerner Alhaji Abiola won election in Kano, defeated Tofa because of the party he belonged to and the orientation of the party. And this is the kind of thing we are advocating for Africa. May I summarize? It is difficult to build institutions that have sense of mission, that have value, that have legitimacy of the people. But we have no choice. And unless these institutions are in place, checking one another, and unless you have leaders with strong political will to effect a change, to institute electoral reform, and not to mind whether they are defeated, there is no sin involved in losing the election. When you lose the election, it means people say, go and rest. But Africans don't understand that language. When they lose the election, they must accept initially. Oh, they congratulate the person. After second thought, they were like a kitty. Any Nigerian who is here will know what. Fire me, congratulated fire said, oh, congrats, you know. But say, why are you doing this? You must go to tribunal. And it made transition difficult. And this is replicated everywhere. People don't lose the election and accept it. And may I remind colleagues, Africans who are here, politics is for service. It's not a career where you make money. It is where you present yourself to a local community to serve as a councillor. If they accept you, you go for a while. And if it's 2 years, at the end of it, you resubmit yourself. If they say, we don't want you, you thank them. There should not be struggle. There should not be violence. So this is very, very important. But politics is taken almost as a career. And that's why you have presidents or political parties that say we may rule for 30 years, 20 years. It's not said. The people who determine whether you will rule 10 years, 8 years, the people, sovereignty belongs to the people, not to the leaders. I'm just canvassing this. The ambassador representative of Nigeria who is here, or Africa, Uganda, anywhere, it is difficult. Pressures are on those who hold political office. People around them make demands as if to say, you use political office to satisfy needs of individuals. You use political office to satisfy the needs of generality of people. And that's why politics is like a social contract. You enter. All the philosophers of the past, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, they all agreed. The people's sovereignty belongs to the people. People decide, look after us, provided our life is safeguarded, our property is safe. But when we don't want you, you bow out. Now that we have serious problems in Africa, especially Ebola, AIDS, we require governments that are committed to the service of people. We require institutions that can cope, health institutions that can take care of the health care. You require government that can stand the crisis, otherwise legitimacy fizzles out and you can easily descend to anarchy. And I started with Liberia. It's unfortunate I'm ending because I said 167 years. And I don't know of viable institutions that can effect laudable change on behalf of the people or what the people need. Finally, I don't think we should lose hope. All of us who are connected, including our other colleagues from here, from Europe, from all over, human beings are the same, and the media has a lot of responsibility in bringing about the change, in building institutions. Sometimes media take the advantage of what is often said, that what is good news may not be good news for reporters because people may not buy the paper or no. But what is bad news? Ebola has taken 4,000 lives in West Africa. The media may hype it, institute fear in the minds of people. Or the media can take a conciliatory approach, understand the circumstances, what really had happened, and how this thing can be checked. And this is where the Center for Media and Peace Initiative is very important to bring people together. The media people have very strong role in informing people, enlightenment about democracy, enlightening the leaders, and all. After all, they are part and parcel of societies. They are human beings that belong to society. And no one will want anarchy anywhere, you know. And we have joint responsibility to advance the cause of mankind. And in Africa, I strongly recommend, one, there must be strong political will on part of present and current crop of leadership all over Africa, committed to effecting electoral reform and establishing a vibrant political order. Two, there must be two nationally integrated political parties. However you want to do it may differ from one African country to another, but these parties must cut across ethnic, state, regional, and religious boundaries. Three, voters' register should not be manipulated or doctored. Four, institutions are necessary to effect changes in society. The electoral body must be independent. I was able to accomplish what I did because I was allowed to, up to a certain point. If they had allowed that election result to be held, perhaps Nigeria would have been like Malaysia or Singapore today. That's what many people know. If that opportunity was missed, so that's why legitimacy matters in governance. The leadership should aim at getting the legitimacy of the people. And finally, we should not lose hope, and we should look forward to helping one another. Mankind, this is a global village. We belong to one another. We should help one another.